Mary Jane A. Estabilio, and I'm going to discuss all about Operation Security, or the OPSEC. Operational security, or OPSEC, is super important for keeping sensitive information safe in organizations. With the world becoming more digital, threats to security are always changing. OPSEC helps businesses, governments, and others to protect themselves from cyber attacks, spies, and other security risks. OPSEC is all about finding and fixing weaknesses in how organizations operate, like in their procedures, processes, and communications method. By doing this, organizations can prevent unauthorized access to important information and keep their operations running smoothly. Operational security, or OPSEC, also known as procedural security, is a risk management process that encourages managers to view operations from the perspective of an adversary in order to protect sensitive information from falling into the wrong hands. OPSEC involves implementing measures to detect, assess, and mitigate potential vulnerabilities, thereby enhancing the overall security posture of the organization. This proactive approach helps to minimize the risk of being compromised or to ensure the integrity and confidentiality of organizational data. OPSEC is the control of the information by knowing the threat, knowing what to protect, determining risk, knowing how to protect the information. These are the steps typically involved in the operational security, or the OPSEC process. First is the identify critical information. It determines what information is most important to protect from potential threats. This could include sensitive data, proprietary information, or operational detail. Second, analyze threats. Evaluate potential threats to the identified critical information. This involves considering both internal and external threats, such as espionage, cyber attacks, or physical breaches. Third, discover vulnerabilities. Identify weaknesses or vulnerabilities in the organization's operations, systems, or processes that could be exploited by adversaries to access critical information. Fourth, assess risk. Determine the likelihood and potential impact of threats exploiting vulnerabilities to compromise critical information. This involves quantifying the risk associated with each identified threat. And lastly, develop countermeasures. Develop and implement measures to mitigate or counteract identified risks and vulnerabilities. This could include implementing security controls, policies, procedures, or training programs to enhance the organization's security posture. Operation Security Best Practices. Organizations developing and implementing an end-to-end operation security program will want to follow these best practices. First, change management processes. Establishing change management protocols is imperative for companies, providing employees with clear guidelines to follow when making network adjustments. Second, restrict device access. Device access should be restricted to only those necessary for network operations, utilizing network device authentication to ensure security. Third, implement least privilege access. Embrace the principle of least privilege, assigning employees only the maximum access required to fulfill their job duties, thus enhancing security. Fourth, deploy dual control. Ensure separation between teams responsible for network maintenance and security policy setting to prevent conflicts of interest. Fifth, automation can help mitigate human errors in security, reducing the risk of data breaches and other security incidents. And lastly, developing a robust disaster recovery plan is crucial for effective information security, ensuring preparedness for potential disasters and implementing a comprehensive incident response strategy.
Vulnerability management and penetration testing. Vulnerability management is a continuous, proactive, and often automated process that keeps your computer systems networks, and enterprise applications safe from cyber attacks and data breaches. Vulnerability management is the process of identifying, evaluating, treating, and reporting on security vulnerabilities in systems and the software that runs on them. Example of vulnerability. Vulnerability scanners alert companies to the pre-existing flaws in their code and where they are located. Penetration tests attempt to exploit the vulnerabilities in a system to determine whether unauthorized access or other malicious activity is possible and identify which flaws pose a threat to the application. Penetration testing. Penetration testing or pen testing is a security exercise where a cybersecurity expert attempts to find and exploit vulnerabilities in a computer system. The purpose of this simulated attack is to identify any weak spots in a system's defenses which attackers could take advantage of. Another term of penetration testing. Ideally, your penetration test should cover a wide variety of network security, host, and application attack vectors. Examples include the OWASP Top 10, DDoS and DDoS, IDOR, Remote Code Execution, DNS Brute Force, DNS Subdomain Takeover, deprecated ciphers, and cross-site scripting. Advantages of vulnerability management. Improve security. Improving security involves several steps such as updating software regularly, using strong unique passwords, implementing two-factor authentication, encrypting sensitive data, and educating users about potential threats like phishing. Assessing and mitigating risk regularly is also crucial. Next is compliance. Compliance with relevant regulations and standards is essential for ensuring security. This involves understanding and adhering to laws such as GDPR, HIPAA or PCI DSS, as well as industry-specific standards. Conducting regular audits and assessments to ensure compliance and addressing any gaps promptly is crucial. Additionally, staying informed about updates and changes to regulation is vital to maintaining compliance. Third is cost savings. Cost savings can be achieved through various security measures. For instance, investing in robust security systems can prevent costly data breaches or cyber attacks, which can result in financial losses, reputation damage, and regulatory fines. Implementing effective security measures can also reduce the need for expensive incident response and recovery efforts. Moreover, improved security can lead to increased operational efficiency and productivity, further contributing to cost savings in the long run. Last is better asset management. Provides several advantages including cost reduction. By accurately tracking assets, organization can optimize their usage, reduce unnecessary purchase, and avoid over-provisioning. This leads to cost savings in procurement, maintenance, and licensing. Disadvantages of vulnerability management. Resource intensive. Resource intensity is a measure of the resources needed for the production, processing, and disposal of a unit of good or service, or for the completion of a process or activity. Next is potential disruptions. The action of preventing something, especially a system, process, or event, from continuing as usual. Last is limited scope. Limited scope representation refers to the concept of a lawyer agreeing with a client to handle only some parts of the client's legal matter.
Disadvantages of vulnerability management. First is resource intensive. It is implementing vulnerability management requires significant resources in terms of time, money, and personnel to identify, prioritize, and address vulnerabilities across an organization's systems and network. Next is limited scope. Vulnerability management may have limitations in terms of depth and breadth of vulnerabilities. It can effectively identify and address potentially leaving some areas of the organization's infrastructure at risk. Third is potential disruption. The process of addressing vulnerabilities identified through vulnerability management can potentially disrupt normal operations, leading to downtime or performance issues as patches and updates are implemented. Advantages of penetration testing. Identifying and resolving system vulnerabilities. Through simulated attacks, penetration testing helps uncover weaknesses in the system security, allowing for proactive resolution of potential exploits. Second is gaining valuable insights. The process provides valuable insights into the digital systems, allowing organizations to understand and address their security posture more effectively. And third is establishing client trust. By demonstrating a commitment to security through rigorous testing, organizations can build trust with their clients, showcasing their dedication to protecting sensitive information. And last is disadvantages of penetration testing. First, mistakes can be costly. Errors in conducting penetration testing can have significant repercussions, potentially leading to system downtime, data loss, and other negative impacts. Second is determining the test conditions. Establishing the appropriate test conditions for penetration testing can be challenging as it requires a balance between accurately simulating real-world threats and minimizing the risk of causing harm to the system being tested. And last is testing could be unethical. In some cases, the methods used in penetration testing may cross ethical boundaries, potentially causing harm to the systems being tested or violating privacy and security regulations. What is the difference between vulnerability management and penetration testing? The main difference between vulnerability management and penetration testing is that vulnerability assessments identify potential weaknesses in an organization's IT infrastructure through high-level security scans, while penetration testing goes a step further by simulating real-world attacks to test the effectiveness of security measures and provide a more in-depth analysis of the organization's security posture.
Good day everyone, I am Ina Choi Laureta from BSIT 3B BPO and I am going to discuss disaster recovery and business continuity planning. IT disaster recovery plans provide step-by-step procedures for recovering disrupted systems and networks and help them resume normal operations. The goal of these processes is to minimize any negative impacts to company operations. The disaster recovery process identifies critical IT systems and networks, prioritizes their recovery time objective, and delineates the steps needed to restart, reconfigure, and recover them. Steps of disaster recovery plan formulation. Step 1. Develop the contingency planning policy statement. A formal policy
Steps of Disaster Recovery Plan Formulation according to National Institute for Standards and Technology or NIST. Special Publication 800-34 Contingency Planning for Information Technology Systems. The following summarizes the ideal structure for an IT disaster recovery plan. Number 1. Develop the contingency planning policy statement. A formal policy provides the authority and guidance necessary to develop an effective contingency plan. Conduct the Business Impact Analysis or BIA. The Business Impact Analysis helps to identify and prioritize critical IT systems and components. Number 3. Identify preventive controls. These are measures that reduce the effects of system disruptions and can increase system availability and reduce contingency lifecycle costs. Number 4. Develop recovery strategies. Through recovery strategies, ensure that the system can be recovered quickly and effectively following a disruption. Number 5. Develop an IT contingency plan. The contingency plan should contain detailed guidance and procedures for restoring a damaged system. Number 6. Plan testing, training, and exercising. Testing the plan identifies planning gaps, whereas training prepares recovery personnel for plan activation. Both activities improve plan effectiveness and overall agency preparedness. Number 7. Plan maintenance. The plan should be a living document that is updated regularly to remain current with system enhancements.
Incident response process. Incident response process refers to a systematic approach taken by organization to manage and address security incidents promptly and effectively. In the context of mobile technology, incident response involves the coordinate efforts to detect, contains, eradicates, and cover from security breaches or threats targeting mobile device, application, or network. Incident response is critical in mobile technology due to widespread use of smartphones, tablets, and other mobile devices, which are often connected to sensitive data and networks. Mobile devices face unique security challenges, including the risk of loss of theft, unauthorized access to data, and malware infection. Effective incident response helps mitigate these risks and ensure the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of mobile technology resources.
Key steps in incident response. Preparation phase. During the preparation phase, organizations establish incident response policies, procedures, and team rules. This includes developing incident response plan outlining rules, responsibilities, and escalation procedures, conducting regular training and exercise to ensure that incident response teams are prepared to effectively respond to security incidents. Detection phase involves identifying security incidents in mobile technology environments through various means, including automated monitoring system that detects suspicious activities, anomalous or unauthorized access attempts, manual review of system logs, audit trails, and user reports to identify signs of potential security. Containment phase. Once a security incident is detected, the containment phase focuses on limiting the impact and spread of the incident. This may involve isolating affected systems, monitoring malicious activities or communication channels used by attackers. Eradication phase. In the eradication phase, organization identify and eliminate the root cause of the security incidents to prevent recurrence. This may involve conducting a thorough investigation to identify vulnerabilities or weaknesses exploited by the attacker. Recovery phase. The recovery phase focuses on restoring affected mobile technology, system, and services to normal operation. This includes data restoration from backups or recovery procedures to recover loose and corrupted data. Reconfiguring system and networks to ensure security and integrity, testing and validation to verify that restored systems are functioning correctly and securely. Lesson learned. After the incident is resolved, organization conduct a post-incident analysis to identify lessons learned and opportunities for improvement. This may include reviewing the effectiveness of incident response procedures and tools used during the response. Identifying areas for enhancement in detection, containment, eradication, and recovery. Updating incident response plan and procedure based on lesson learned to improve future incident response.
Hi, I'm Emmanuel Galiema. So I'm going to discuss the compliance with regulation and standard. First, regulatory compliance. It helps to ensure that companies do not engage in ethical or illegal practices and can be used to protect both their employees and customers, often by protecting their data, namely personally identifiable information and protected health information, and the regulatory framework to identify and incorporate relevant laws and regulation governing operational security in your industry or region. And the risk assessment. It's developed a robust risk assessment process to identify potential threats, vulnerabilities, and impacts on operational security. And the security policies and procedures. It's established clear and comprehensive security policies and procedures aligned with industry standards and regulatory requirements. The access control. It implements access control to ensure that only authorized personnel have access to sensitive information and critical systems. The data protection. It's define and enforce measures for the protection of sensitive data, including encryption, data masking, and secure transmission protocols. The incident response plan. Develop a detailed incident response plan outlining procedures to be followed in the event of a security incident, ensuring compliance with reporting requirements.
Security training and awareness. Provide regular training sessions for employees to raise awareness of security risks and ensure compliance with security policies. Monitoring and auditing. Establish continuous monitoring and auditing processes to detect and respond to security incidents promptly. Regularly conduct compliance audits to ensure an adherence to regulations. Physical security measure. Include physical security measures to protect facilities, equipment, and data centers complying with relevant regulations. Documentation and reporting. Maintain thorough documentation of security measures, incidents, and compliance efforts. generate regular reports for its stakeholders and regulatory bodies. Vendor management. If applicable, implement procedures to assess and manage the security practices of third-party vendors to ensure compliance across the supply chain. Updates and patch management. Stay current with security patches and updates for software and systems, ensuring compliance with security best practices. Standard. There are two types of standard, which is PII and PHL. PII stands for Personally Identifiable Information. This is any data that could potentially identify a specific individual. This includes information like first and last names, addresses, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, birth date, telephone numbers, and email addresses, bank account details, credit numbers, and scores, and passport information. Number 2, PHL, which is Protected Health Information. This is a subset of PII that specifically relates to an individual's health history and or status. This includes things like medical records and insurance claims.